One. Thank you. This is the Sourceseeker Hour. I am your host, Baruti Carl Alexander. It has been a long time. It has been a long time. Let me make sure everything is ready. Okay, everything is ready. We took a break in the Sourceseeker Hour. We had to adjust some things, but we are back, and this is our 90th episode. Our 90th episode. And guess what? I have my guest from my first episode, Dr. Abraham Kamel. From my first episode of all time, wow. He was there. Dr. Kamel, thank you.
Thank you very much for this introduction.
Yes, you were on my first episode. This is 90 episodes later. And this is the Sourceseeker Hour, and we are so glad to come back to you today to restart, to start again, to go bigger and better. And we are coming with the subject, friendship is essential to the soul. And friendship is very, very important. And I was talking with Sister Cassandra about friendship in these times and the difficulty people are having in these times. It's so many things happening. I mean, you know, people have stress at their job. They have stress just driving down the road rage going on. So many different things. You know, you leave out the door, you don't know whether you're going to go into a conflict. There are so many things happening. Before we get into that, I would like our guests to introduce themselves. Dr. Abraham Kamel, can you briefly introduce yourself and share with our audience anything that you would like to share about yourself?
Absolutely, sir. I am Abraham Kamel. I am a professor at the college in economics and finance, and I have served in education all of my life, and I'm proud of this really profession, since I have met so many generations of students and co-workers. I built so many good friendships among that, of course, varying in level from one place to another, from one person to another. And I am very proud of your friendship, my brother Alex.
I'm very proud to be your friend also. It's always a joy. You always have a smile. Your energy is great. And even when things are not as friendly around you, you always try to maintain that. And I love that about you, Dr. Kamel. Let me move to Sister Cassandra. Please, Sister Cassandra, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Cassandra Barnes. I am both a registered nurse as well as a licensed psychotherapist. And so I have 2 professional licenses as well as a certified Christian counselor as well. And so I have a very comprehensive background, a healthcare background that expands over 33 years, been very successful. I recently launched out and established my private practice as a licensed psychotherapist, and it launched with a full caseload of clients the very first week. And so I've been extremely blessed with this new next level endeavor along the lines of my professional career. So I'm very grateful to be here again as a guest on this tremendous broadcast.
Thank you very much. Our 90th episode. It's been a long time, and it has been very beneficial to a lot of people. I've met a lot of people through the networking of the broadcast, and a lot of people tell me how much it has benefited them, and it certainly has benefited me. I'd like to ask my first question. It's difficult maintaining friends. I tell my kids that over my lifetime, I would say, you know, you have different kinds of friends. You have friends that you confer with, that you talk to on a much more closer level. Then you have friends that are more like acquaintances. But as far as deep friendships, I think I have probably 5. And it changes. It changes like from elementary school throughout your school time, then at your job. And let me give a disclaimer. Me and Dr. Kamal have worked together for about 3 years now, Dr. Kamal?
4 years.
4 years? Okay, so we went through friendships at that particular job. We've lost some friends and we've gained some friends. Let me ask this question for both of you, Dr. Kamal.
Yes.
What does it take for a good friendship today in our world that is stressful? What do you consider the things that make a good friendship? How does that develop? How have we developed our friendship over our years?
Yes, sir. The friendship, as we know, it's an absolute oldest human relation known in our history, and it was developed according to the time and the space and the place. And this is, of course, very much highly classified as a...
Can you back up just a little bit from the screen? Okay, right there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and it is expressed like, by trusting. So the mean of trusting varies among individuals from one another, from a culture to another. As you know, I am from Jerusalem, you're from America in here, and then I became American. I adjusted so much, but still I see there are certain barriers in some way with others, not with you. When I try to build some relation, I become misunderstood in some way. But this is normal, and I expect this because friendship also, it's built on trust. It also has so much expectations. If there is no match in the expectations, that shows that this friendship cannot be really advanced and strengthened, and it will be limited or maybe forgone. The situation is you want to see what is the maturity of the people who are parties in this relation. So some people, they are and they understand the relation as materialistic thing.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to males, females situation. And this is normal, this is no surprise for me. I consider it. But real friendship is when I feel I am in low spirits, I find some person to push me up, to support me, because I try to distinguish between the friendship within the materialistic space or dimension and the emotional. I focus on the emotional because that is the most fruitful. The material is something important, but it is not the crucial in the relationship or in the friendship.
So let me make sure I'm understanding. And I don't think it's any confusion here. I mean, hey, some people are your friend when they feel you can help them financially or materially. But if that's not the case, then maybe they ain't your friend so much. Basically, that's what you said, right?
I'm saying that it depends on the expectation. If the
Okay.
expectation is built on something, then it will be related and conditioned to that purpose. But that's not what we want. That's not what we desire. We desire a true relationship. Whenever I need some support, I am not tying up with the material. Sometimes the word, the feelings, it is a big support. Yani, the wealth is not money all the time. The wealth is through support, through some high spirits.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it.
Sister Cassandra, what is your opinion on that? What does it take to have a good friendship in today's world? And share your comments on what Dr. Kamal said.
Okay, great. Well, friendships are very, very important to me. I have been blessed. My best friend from junior high school is still one of my best friends today. I have many friends from high school growing up. A lot of my very good friends are from people that I went to school with. And being 58 years old, that's very rare to have friendships that are literally 40, 45 years old and active friendships. I have friendships, my best friends from college are still my best friends. And I know that that is rare. I think and I've lost some very good friends too, um, over the years as well, not through any incidents per se, just lives just grow apart. I went to school in a different state, and a lot of those earlier friendships, my friends lived outside of Texas and where I live now. But I still, my best friend, LeJean from Howard University, lives in Jersey. We have been best friends since 1982. My best friend, Daisy, we graduated from the College of Nursing together in 88. We're still best friends today, and many other my best friends. But I think the reason why is because not only have I always shown up to be authentic, they have always shown up to be authentic. I think authenticity is one of the most extremely valuable qualities that you can have. You know, we're all individuals. We're like me and one of my really good friends of 20 years got into a major conflict earlier this year. And I had to let her know that, because if I would have allowed it to transpire in this negative way, we probably wouldn't still be friends today.
Can I ask, not the specifics, but was it something personal that caused the rift? Was it a misunderstanding? What I have found is if you can have a clear communication, you could usually clear up things. But when one party, you know, thinks certain things that does not express it in a clear way, then that'll cause, cause a problem that'll keep stemming.
Absolutely. It stemmed from exactly what you just stated, what was perceived as a lack of a breach of trust. And it was the breach of trust was fundamental to how both of us operate. So our fundamental operations is in a certain position what she felt was breached. Now let me explain it this way. I'm a person that if I have to discuss something difficult with somebody, especially one of my friends, I'm gonna ask, I seek wise counsel in relation to that, because I want to make sure that I'm perceiving this issue in a way that would be consistent with others that would have the same information. So what I did was I sought wise counsel from 3 people that I felt could give me valid information in this instance. And before I went to speak to her about a conflict. So one of the people that I thought I could trust went and told her that I had come to them with with the situation. Now, I don't make where our conflict came in initially was she waited 2 years to even let me know. This happened in 2019. We're in 2021. She waited 2 years before she even came to me with the fact that she knew I had discussed. I told her I had discussed it with other people before coming to her. I didn't tell her who those people were. So the first issue was she waited 2 years. Well, in 2 years, now you're going to have a lot of things brewing, emotions brewing about it, because you sat on it for 2 years. And so that was the first situation, because had it been brought to me when it happened, we could have dealt with it then. The second,
if I may ask this, because I do remember we had the discussion about the friendship. Would you say that lack of communication on both parts helped to play a part in this?
well, it wasn't on both parts because I didn't realize there was a
But
conflict.
she was upset that you didn't come to her first.
Yeah, she was upset that I discussed it with our spiritual mother. But we have the same spiritual mother. So I discussed it with her first, and we have the same other best friend. So I discussed it with her. She was upset because I discussed it with them instead of just coming straight to her. My fundamental way that I approach life is through wise counsel. If it's something controversial, I'm going to seek wise counsel regarding it. That's not going to change. It doesn't matter if whoever it is, I'm going to seek wise counsel. So my thing with her is I don't regret how I did it. That's the way that I operate. I'm always going to seek wise counsel, because if it's controversial, I want to make sure I'm perceiving it the right way. Okay, so my apology to her, and I made it very clear, which offended her, is I don't apologize for the action, because the action is in line with how I operate. It's my fundamental practice. The fact that you got offended by it to the degree I suppose I feel bad about that, but my conflict was I didn't have a problem the way that it was perceived after I've explained to you my motive, because what I deal with is motive. I don't necessarily deal with actions. So with me, I wouldn't care if you discussed it with somebody. What was your motive for discussing it? Were you gossiping or were you seeking wise counsel?
Let me ask this.
Mm-hmm.
So today, do you feel that you have resolved it and you all are better friends?
It's resolved, but I don't perceive her as a better friend. I
Better
don't
friend than you
perceive
used
that.
to be. Or do you feel that the open dialogue helped you all to grow?
No, honestly, I don't. I think that a lot came out of that. You know, when
I would say this, my goal, if we're gonna have a discussion where we air everything out, I would like at the end of the day for us to grow to where we have a greater understanding.
I would too, but if I can complete my thought, if we're going to be very honest about it, because I can say something that's not true, but I want to be authentic. And in one thing that I've always stated, which is why I have very strong friendships for many, 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 many years. The one way that you can tell how somebody really feel about you is get them mad. When you get somebody mad, the truth about how they feel about you will 100% of the time come out. And when she got angry like she did to the point of literally wanting to physically fight me, a lot of things came out that I didn't know was in her heart. And so I don't regret any aspect of it. One thing that I pray, if I can be very honest, which is why I think this all came out when it did. If I'm an extremely generous person. Literally yesterday, I gave one of my best friends a St. John knit suit that's $2,500. I gave her a Gucci bracelet that was almost $1,000. I love blessing my friends, and any one of them know that, and they bless me. So it's not, none of my friends ask me for anything, none of that. We're very good to each other. So I want to be clear about that in light of what he spoke about material things, but I'm extremely generous. And launching my practice, I knew it was going to be very blessed. I knew God was going to bless me financially. And I asked God, I said, show me the hearts of people that's connected to me, because I know what I like to do for people. I know that's just the heart of who I am. And I think the fact that that came out, that breach had occurred 2 years prior, as many times as we have been together and talked, and you never brought it up, she brought it up at a dinner that I had for her. I paid for everything to help her feel good on her birthday, bought a tremendous amount of food, gifts, her cake. I bought all of that for us to go out and have a good time. You saw me multiple times. Oh, and you never brought it up, but you bring it up at a dinner that I had for you for your birthday. You couldn't, you were waiting for timing, but this birthday dinner is the right time, you know. And so then things were said that caused me some concern. You know, the fact that you could step to me like you want to fight me physically was a problem, you know, because I was never mad. So I'm like, you might want to back all that energy up, because I don't take that very well. But I was never angry, so I wasn't going to meet that negativity with negativity. But I believe it was brought to me as a gift so I could see her heart toward me. Yes, she's still my friend, but a lot of things that I would normally do for her, as I do for most of my friends, as you may know, I do a dinner for my friends every year where I shower them with gifts. It's like my favorite things kind of thing. And I get them all the same gift. I host 10 to 15 of my closest female friends, and I treat them like queens. And I give them, I mean, they have gourmet food, lobster, shrimp, just very gourmet food.
Cassandra, if I may interject, I want to come back to that because I got some major points. And you know, I do not stop if it's something that I want to cut in and share with you. I got some major points on that, and I want to come back to you. But at this time, I'd like to introduce Jennifer, Sister Jennifer Cain, if you would introduce yourself, as well as we are discussing on the 90th episode of the Sourceseeker Hour. We're asking, what does it take to make a good friendship in today's world? Is it harder? And this is our 90th episode, and we have our first guest on our first episode of the Sourceseeker Hour, Dr. Abraham Kamel, and we're going to come back to him. I'd like to introduce Jennifer, introduce yourself, and share about that particular question, if you would.
Yes, hi, I am Jennifer Cain. I'm the owner and primary therapist. I am a licensed professional counselor, a licensed chemical dependency counselor, and a certified clinical anxiety treatment provider. In regards to friendship, I think that's something that we all recognize has been a vital part of our human nature during this time of quarantine and such during COVID. As humans, we thrive from and are vastly hurt by other human interaction in a lot of ways. A lot of our pain and suffering comes from that one thing, love. And I think friendships now may be a bit more difficult because of the recent, maybe not that recent, now it's been a while, but the changes in the world that we live in now, like you said, Rudy, just from how we live our daily lives, what we're able to do, who we have access to, who we don't, the losses that we have, the trust that has been broken in some ways and maybe even strengthened in others have all contributed to how our relationships are able to maintain throughout this time. I think that that keeps us all well mentally in those aspects of just life and relationships by having those healthy friendships that are hard to withhold and maintain. I don't know if that answers your question.
Is it with the pandemic and everything going on, are some people have got strengthened in their friendships because they had to.
Me too.
Or they didn't have to, but they chose that opportunity to. But also some have not been strengthened. Do you feel that if there's somebody who you used to be friends with, but they have stopped talking to you or they're avoiding you, do you try to go and reconcile with them and find out what the problem is?
I think that it's important to, if you have the energy. I think that's what's important for us to recognize too. Everything with all the things that we're going through, that takes a lot of our energy just to wake up and go outside in a day, right? Like we just, especially with the unexpected, there's so much unexpected. We don't know what we're going to get, what we're going to be able to do, and how we're going to be able to move forward. So we have to make sure that we pay attention to ourselves and recognize what we do have the energy for to address any disparaging experiences or conflicts with peers and your friends, right? Now, if it is something that you're feeling, because our emotions are heightened, we're more anxious. A lot of us are more depressed if we've been isolated. It's a lot of the emotional instabilities just going on with all of us because of the world we're in that doesn't make much sense, but we have to live in, right? So if that's the case, and you recognize that, and we know companionship and support, because friendships, the intent of friendships is support. Support meaning you can communicate about certain things, be heard, be listened to, be encouraged, maybe even have agree to disagree, like have conversations and just understand, be related, just know that you can relate to someone else and they understand you. All those things are what friendship gives you. Now, if you have anything that gets in the way of that and you're having a disagreement and you feel like you're not related to, you don't have someone that supports you, then yeah, it's important to have that conversation to find out where it came from and what influenced the disconnect somewhere in there.
So it really depends upon how much energy you want to put into it. So if the person is not being reciprocal, you might say, okay, I'll try one time, I'll try 2 times, but maybe after that, that might be it.
It depends on, but then we also got to recognize that just like we going through stuff, they could be too.
Okay.
And then that life, as we know, it's not understandable. It's hard, it's confusing. We don't know what's going on. They could be going through the same thing too. And we can't personalize everything like they're just not being a good friend or they're not a good person or whatever it may not be. It's just maybe they're going through something too. Or we may not have, we may not be in the same places in life right now. That doesn't mean we ain't got to be friends forever. Just right now ain't the time. And that's okay. But if you make the effort, I don't know, for me, I need acknowledgement. If you did something to hurt me and I tell you you hurt me and you're not making an effort to even acknowledge that you did it or communicate about what's going on with it and you're avoiding it, then I don't know if I need you to be my friend, but I can ask you how you doing too. Because that could have influenced what contributed to you to respond the way that you did to me. I'm willing to do that, but I got to make sure I got enough energy to do it. Meaning, if I'm not feeling well, if I'm overwhelmed or stressed, and I'm going to talk to somebody that I normally would, but we already have an argument or in a disagreement or something, I may not be able to hear them.
Maybe not at that time, but maybe later. So you're saying a lot of it sometimes depends on timing, balance, space, all those things. Very good points. Dr. Kamel, same question. If somebody's not responding to you and you, for instance, if you were reaching out to somebody and they're not responding to you, how far do you go?
Friendship has different types and different stages. And in this situation, we have to define what type of relationship, like, is it like between you and someone who is useful to you, or somebody who you feel joy to join him or her, and friendship like who is having mutual respect with you and admiration. So this depends, because you cannot take all the friends at the same level, at the same way. Some friend, you ask him about some help about how to do in certain thing or area. Somebody else, you ask him about something else. And it depends, you know. For me, I see the stages of the friendship. It comes like from acquaintance, from peer friend, from close friend, or the best friend. So that has to be taken in consideration, because the expectation here plays the big role from each type. It depends on the circumstances of these people. And we are friends, but we have been apart like 5 years. We didn't see each other. It's different a little bit from where we used to see each other every day. So that is in consideration. Also, the the maturity of the personality. Some people, they are mature and smart, shrewd. They can understand the friend without even asking. Then I feel that you are in financial difficulty. I come and offer you some help you never expect or ask for. Somebody else, like, if you have like intellectual growth, like in the profession, you trust certain person more than other, because you trust his thoughts and ideas. So we have to take this in consideration. I am not really limiting to the materialistic things. Materialistic is a form of expressing friendship. Like in the Christmas, I gift you a watch. In the birthday, I gift you like a cake, and some stuff beside this. It depends on, because it's like entity, you watch it's growing. Some plant dies at early age, some plant goes and grow up and become a very big crop source. So it depends and vary. You need to use your intellectual ability and smartness, how to consider. No need for hostility or
No need
hate.
for what? What you say? No
Like
need for what?
I see many people, they become like very, very strong friends, and after a while they fight badly.
Okay.
That is something like dramatic. Friendship is to maintain balance and peace. No need to be hostile. Hostility is something crazy, as what we see the wars in everywhere in the world. That is the bad style of relation among nations. So we don't like to have it at the individual level.
Yes, sir.
So
One thing I
yes.
know, friendship, it comes about from association. And just like me and you, we became associated at our place of work. If we hadn't had that place of work, we wouldn't have been able to develop that. And that has a factor in what type of friendship you develop also. Wouldn't you say that?
Yes, sir.
So, you might have a different relationship, somebody you meet at the park, as opposed to somebody you meet at the job. So all of those factors go into friendship also. And yes, there are certain levels. Certain levels do not grow like a flower. Some stay right there, stamped in the mud or stamped in the dirt, and they don't grow any further. But then some can blossom, and it takes time to figure out. And as you said, you have to have an intellectual understanding of the possibilities of the friendship.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Because when I ask you, like, as it happened sometime, as we remember, I used to come to get some advice from you about some matter in the work. I knew what things I can ask you, what things I should not ask you, because I don't want you to be at risk. If I put you in some hardship, before the administration, that will be a hurt, and I don't like to hurt you. So I maintain it on low profile as much as it works between us.
But if your friendship is growing, then you learn more about what's comfortable to ask.
Absolutely.
And then at a certain point, you feel that you should be able to ask anything, and then I can give you a straight answer. I'll say, hey, I really don't want to talk about that. That's not something I want to talk about. And that would be a comfortable thing.
Exactly. And I did, accept your justification, because I know you, if you know and you can, you will. But since you cannot, you were honest to me and told me right on front that I cannot do nothing about this, or think about it in different way. So that is the perfect relation, which it makes me like Mr. Alexander. I cannot forget him. Really, I cannot forget him. He
Thank
is
you.
so dear, and we never, had any like materialistic interest. Never.
Never.
Exactly. But I'm proud of you.
But let me say this also, Dr. Kamel. You have an aura of a glow of honesty, well-being. There's certain things that you want to care for everybody. You want to be a good person to everybody, and that comes off in the way that you carry yourself. Now,
yes.
Not everybody, that's not their cup of tea, as well as you know. But
Actually,
I like that, and that's why I gravitated, and that's why we became friends in that particular way. I want to go back to Cassandra real quick. Cassandra?
please.
Yes.
Now, you said that one of your goals in the friendship, and I hope you're not upset with this, Cassandra.
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, is you felt necessary to find a way to bring out the emotions of your friend, and one of the things was you was going to make her mad.
No, that's completely not what happened.
Okay,
at all.
well, let me be clear.
I'm sorry, you misunderstood.
If I was your friend and you felt you needed to make me mad, I would be mad by you using that approach.
Okay, that's not the approach that I use. So let me clarify.
That's what I got.
Let me clear. That may be what you got, but that's not what I meant. So,
okay.
So since you're my friend, I'm gonna explain it to you, hopefully, and you can get it. That's not what I said. I said once someone gets mad, the truth about how they feel about you will always come out. Okay. As my friend that she has been for 20 years, one thing she knows about me is my integrity, which is why my best friend from junior high school, 50 years later, is still my best friend. My friends, just like when I have my Queens event where I celebrate my female friends, 15 of them, most people don't even have 15 very close friends that they can celebrate. So that speaks to my integrity. And all of them have been my best friends minimum 10 years. So that speaks to my character and to my integrity. Certain things that you know about me just being my friend. One thing none of them can ever say is that I'm a gossiper. That's not what I do. That's not how I operate. That's not my character. So again, as I spoke to her and told her, I didn't have an issue with the fact that our spiritual mother came and told her that I talked to her. My concern was what was the motive behind it, because she could have came and told her and she could have related the way that I said it. I would not have had a problem. The motive behind it for them was gossip. So that changes the picture. The second thing is anybody that knows me, you don't ever have to, if you've been knowing me for 20 years and been my close friend, you don't have to wait 2 years to discuss anything with me. So that conversation should have happened in 2019, not in 2021. And then the other thing was, why bring it up at a birthday dinner that I'm hosting for you to try to help you feel better? You know, that was the other issue that I had. I didn't seek to make her mad. What I said was the fact that she got that kind of angry after I explained my motive to her. When she told me about it, I said, let me tell you my motive behind that. It was like she was very committed to being offended even after I explained my motive. And so that's on you. I can't all I can do is explain my motive behind it. I said I was seeking wise counsel because I wanted to make sure I was perceiving this right. You don't have to agree with it, but at least understand that's where my motive was. And I operate like that. I'm gonna seek wise counsel. So I don't regret how I handled it. I hate that you were offended by that, but that's the way I operate. So I can't apologize for how I operate, but I hate you were offended. But in the process of,
Do you feel
even,
that, and I'm sorry to cut in, but
that's okay.
it's on my head, I want to ask this question. With different friends, isn't it appropriate that with one, you might use a strong tone? With another friend, you might use a softer tone. What I'm asking is, will you use the same approach with every friend?
No, because you know what? I don't generally have conflicts with my friends in the first place. I can count how many conflicts I've had literally with my friends. It's just there's a respect that we have for each other, to where even like one of my friends, I got so angry behind this same incident that I literally went off and started cursing to her. Now that's something I would never do. And I immediately apologized to her because, just as Ms. Cain said, everybody's frustrated in this season. Okay, everybody was just agitated or whatever. And I understand that. And I disrespected her. And I immediately apologized. I'm like, because I don't handle my friends like that. This person has never owned her conflict where I'm concerned. It's like all of the effort to preserve the friendship really came from me. That was the first issue. And then after I owned the fact that, okay, you were hurt behind this action, I can't apologize for the action because that's just how I operate. But I hate that you were hurt. She has never owned any part of her action. And then it was some things that was said, and this is the point that I was making to you. When she was angry, she said some things that really didn't have anything to do with the issue, but it showed me the state of her heart toward me. That's where when you ask me, are we better friends today? No, we're not better friends today because of what came out when she was angry.
But you feel you got a more clear understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
We're getting close to the end on the Sourceseeker Hour. We got about another 15 minutes at most. And I wanted to share a situation that happened in a friendship that I had. I went to school with a brother at Prairie View, and we were very good friends. It appeared at that time. We started a little college group together, and we had a lot of friends and so forth. But after that time, you know, he worked at his place, I worked at mine, and we still communicated. But of course, over time, we grew. And what happened one day is he sent me pictures of his house. And you know, I said, okay, cool. He wanted me to say your house is great and everything else, and I didn't say that. And he got upset that I didn't say your house looks great. And then, you know, I went in a different direction, maybe that I should have been more sensitive. I said, a house is an inanimate object. Where's your family? Where are your kids? So forth, so on. And he's still upset with me about that today. And we have never been able to get past that level because, but what happened is our relationship changed. Back in the day, you know, I gave him all the pub about his material things and so forth. But as life has gone on, I mean, I have a different approach to life, and we were never able to cross that bridge into our new life per se. And I'm still trying to figure out a way to do that, but the damage is probably done. We are not better friends today. Now we on the surface communicate, but that deeper part, we haven't been able to bridge. Jennifer, do you have any more comments on what Cassandra was saying or the situation that I spoke about with my friend with the house?
Yeah. What Ms. Lawrence was saying, I think what everything that I heard had to do with her being hurt because she put a lot of energy in molding and supporting in the friendship and was hurt by the actions of the supposed friend. So I don't think that it's not a friendship anymore. I think that it's just not the same level, kind of like what you said.
Yeah.
In regards to the friend in that comment. Now, I got a question or two about your comment
Okay.
that you made to your friend about the house.
I stated, and I say it was probably insensitive, but you know, just like Cassandra was saying about, you know, we go through. I was probably a little upset that he came at me like that, so that's why I said that. But I wasn't being as sensitive and understanding that he was sensitive about what I said. And if I had it to do over again in that way, I wouldn't have said it in that way because I wasn't trying to hurt him. However, that was my true feeling. Okay, you all excited and you want me to jump for joy about this house, but you know, I don't look at it the same way that you do. So why are you jumping on me about not saying hooray about your house? What about, you know, in my opinion, the more important things of life, which is family?
Now, I get it very much of what you're saying, but how did you know that he was upset about the response? Did he say that like I didn't?
Oh yes. Oh
he
yes.
told you how he felt.
Oh yes. Oh yes. And that was the cause of basically the friendship being not the same, or I would submit that we grew away from each other, and that was just the thing that brought it to light.
Yeah.
We had already grown away from each other because as you get older and you got different things going on, you know, it's not the same experience you had at college.
Yeah.
Prairie View down at the Hill.
Very true. Yeah.
You know, so you know, I you know, when I was in college, I didn't have kids. I didn't, you know, have a girlfriend in college. But now I got 3 kids and, you know, different responsibilities. So my mind is in a different place.
Yeah.
And, you know, I felt that he wanted me to be that same person that I was to a certain extent back in college. And, you know, I grew beyond that. Ma'am?
But that's not, that, you know, I think a lot of the times in any relationship, we love people the way that we see love, right? Whether it be a friend, partner, family, right? But the way that we see love is not necessarily the way the other person does. So if that's the case, I'm getting the impression that your friend was proud of what he was able to accomplish. and wanted to share in that. Not necessarily about you, you know, thinking that you in the same place and all that, but it was just like, oh, I did this and I'm proud of this. And that may be his love language, gifts or whatever that may be, right? But yours doesn't seem to be that. And so you didn't receive it in the same way. Now, in the future, because you said you if you could go back, you would have changed the way that you said it, even though you already knew in advance that y'all grew apart. In making that applicable to other relationships, if that same situation happened again, you would change it, but what would you change?
I would have said, hey man, your house is great. I like it. When you're gonna invite me over?
Okay.
That's what I would say today. But you know, you can get hit at a point where your emotions come out. Man, why you? Bam! You want to come back.
Especially when you're going through something.
And that's what happened at that particular point. So, yes, but once upon reflection, I would have liked to re-nurture and help the relationship grow as opposed to tearing it down. So I do regret that, but at the same point as Cassandra was saying, my reaction was true.
Yeah. I understand that, but you know what? Anger is a reaction, and it's a secondary emotion. It comes with something else primary. And so, yes, while I do agree somewhat to what Ms. Lawrence was saying, I think that we say a lot of and do a lot of things to when we're angry because we want the other person to feel the way we feel too.
Yeah.
And so it may not be what I really believe about you, but that's how I'm feeling right now. And I want you to feel how I'm feeling because I'm angry and my primary emotion is hurt. So I just think that to have healthy friendships, just overall, we got to take care of ourselves first. And if we know we're not in a spot to be able to see, to see someone else's perspective and be able to really have a clear eye view of what's in front of us, we might need to take a step back and take a break and be mindful of also learning from our experiences. You were a great example of that just now, Rudy, by saying, hey, I did this. It didn't turn out well for my relationship. It doesn't mean I don't have one. It's just not the same. And now I wouldn't do it again. And if we just allow ourselves to just be human and make mistakes and learn from them, then we will actually have the relationships that we're looking to have, including healthy boundaries in there.
Thank you very much. We are at the end of our program. This is our 90th episode of the Sourceseeker Hour. Again, Dr. Kamal was on the first episode that I ever had. Thank you, Dr. Kamal, for being on this 90th episode.
You're very welcome.
We're going to have everybody's going to be able to say an ending statement. Cassandra, can you say your ending statement and then tell people how they can talk to you more about friendship if they want to, if they want to email you and talk to you about, or if they want to talk to you on Facebook about friendship, how can they get in touch? And then give a final statement about friendship and about being on the Sourceseeker Hour.
Great. Well, again, as usual, I've enjoyed this experience and the guests were amazing. I appreciate it. My name is Cassandra Barnes. I am, again, a licensed psychotherapist as well as a registered nurse. My Facebook page is Cassandra Barnes RN. My mental health management center, my private practice is the Victoria Barnes Mental Health and Wellness Center.
Named after your mother or grandmother?
Named after my tremendous grandmother who has passed away. Friendships change. That's the bottom line. Hold them tight, value them, but understand different dynamics, different stages in life may alter the dynamic of the friendship, but try to hold on to the friendship at its core. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, people change, people grow. It's okay. You know, just keep it in perspective. I'm not angry at my friend. You know, I just put a different face on the friendship. And so Be real about it. Understand when the dynamic is changed and shifted, and go with it. Don't force it to be what it no longer is, and keep living, keep moving, keep thriving. Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you always. You always bring interesting things. And I hope when I play devil advocate that you don't get upset with me. But sometimes I just got to share a few things, and we got to go back and forth so we can get a clear understanding.
Not at all. I love it. I love it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Dr. Kamal, can you
Yes,
give a final word? Talk about friendship and a final word, whatever you like to share to the audience about how they can reach you.
Absolutely.
And congratulations on your professorship.
I'm very pleased of meeting with yourself, Miss Jennifer and Miss Cassandra. And I would say my last comment is for a long living, for a long staying or healthy friendship, it is very significant to watch the maturity of the person on the other side and the intellectual growth, because as Cassandra said, the dynamics of the friendship is changing and advancing, and there are different stations on that. So it should be very well thoughtful. No need to fight, but at least to limitize the level of relationship could be a solution. But if the maturity is high and the intellectual ability and also the mutual interest, that would be great, and it maintains a very good and strong, long-staying relationship.
Okay. You want to share anything, or if anybody want to contact you?
I am very pleased to be in touch with Jennifer and Cassandra.
I'm sure you are. Dr. Kamal, you have a new professorship. Do you want to say anything about that?
About
you have a you say you now have a professorship that you are going to start?
Yes. Yeah, I got a new offer.
Yes. Okay, well, that sounds great. I'll talk with you about that further at another time.
I appreciate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for the first episode and the 90th episode. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Sister Jennifer, last statement. Give us your words of wisdom as we go out.
So to contact me, my website, dorncounseling.com is the best way to reach me. It has all my contact information for my practice here and another therapist that I've added to it. In regards to friendship, I would just generally say that a lot of our love or our happiness comes from love, and a lot of our pain comes from that same thing. And any relationship regards that same thing. Friendship, uh, relationships with partners, family, all regard love. And people are in our lives, and it's very true, for a reason and a season sometimes. And sometimes they're there for the long haul. And it's okay to be able to accept that, and to do what's best to learn whatever you can. That's the thing, to learn whatever you can about yourself and how to interact with other people from that experience forever, however long that season is. I think it's important for us to maintain healthy relationships, first, especially during this time, in this tough time that we're experiencing in this world. It's just to take care of ourselves first. If that makes any sense? I know it's a lot to carry, and we just have to be mindful to keep healthy relationships. We have to be in a healthy space ourselves. We can't go into any type of relationship with wounds that we're looking for someone else to carry, close, heal. But if we give ourselves a little bit extra care, then we'll be able to give what we need to foster healthy relationships. It was a pleasure to converse with everyone here today. I think that the different perspectives were essential to getting just better ideas of how you can be individually a better friend, one to yourself and two to the ones that are in your life, right? And so seeing the different characteristics that everyone else brought to the table in regards to friendship was really awesome to listen to. And I apologize for my late arrival. I was in a session that took a little long. So it was a pleasure to be here. I just want us to remember that we got to love ourselves first if we are looking for that same thing in relationships, and take care of ourselves. Is taking care of ourselves is a form of loving ourselves. And if we do that, then we can love others the way that we want to be loved. And also recognizing and being willing to see what that love looks like for them. So just because my love language, and I can yell it from the top of the world, is acts of service, doing stuff without me having to say it, and just because you're thinking about it, me, and considering me, or saying I appreciate you, and then things like that. So for me, that's my love language. But if I go and love my husband that way, he don't, and that's not his, he don't get it, right? He don't see it. And then I'm offended because you didn't see that I love you. But so we have to be willing to find out what that is for the other person that we're interacting with, so that we can have that healthy relationship and not just give them what we think love is or how we see it. And I think that's how we find those relationships and those healthy ones.
That's a very important point, and I'm sure we're going to have another discussion on that love language, because I might have a love language, but if the other person is not understanding what I'm saying, it's not effective. So we got to learn love language. And this has been the Sourceseeker Hour. This is our 90th episode. I thank my guests, Jennifer Cain, Dr. Abraham Kamal, and Miss Cassandra Barnes. We will see you in 2 weeks. Our show is every 2 weeks now. We thank you very much. The Sourceseeker Hour. Thank you. And the show will be out on Facebook in about 15 minutes or a little bit. We'll see you later, everybody. Thank you.